Have you ever looked at a tiny gadget, like a smartwatch or a smart home sensor, and wondered, how in the world does it hold so much data? Well, today we're pulling back the curtain on one of the key pieces of tech that makes it happen, the XTX XT26G02C. It's a 2 gigabit NAND Flash chip, and we're going to tear down the datasheet to see what makes this little thing so powerful.
So here's how we're going to tackle this. First, we'll get a big picture view of what this chip actually is. Then we'll take a look at the company that builds it, XT. From there, we'll dive deep into its internal structure, check out its performance, and finally, we'll cover the all-important practical stuff, how you can actually get your hands on one of these for your own projects.
All right, first things first. What is the XT26G02C? Let's be clear, this is not your run-of-the-mill memory chip. Nope, it's a really specialized storage solution, built from the ground up for the kinds of compact, intelligent electronics that are all around us today.
And just look at it. One of its biggest selling points is right there, its size. We're talking about the WSON8 package here, and it is tiny. This small footprint is a huge deal for designers, making it a perfect choice for devices where every single millimeter counts, like wearables or those little IoT sensors.
The core magic here is something called SPI NAND Flash. And it's such a smart combination. You get the massive storage density that NAND memory is famous for, but you get to talk to it using the super simple and really efficient SPI protocol. For an engineer, that's the best of both worlds. Tons of capacity without the headache of a complicated interface.
Okay, so we know what it is, but who's the brain behind the operation? Who actually builds this thing? You know, understanding the manufacturer is pretty key, because it tells you a lot about the expertise and the quality that's baked right into the component.
The company is XTX Technology, Inc., and let me tell you, these guys live and breathe flash memory. That's their whole world, and that kind of specialization is so important. It means they're not just dabbling, they are the experts. You can trust that the specs on their datasheets are backed by some serious engineering know-how.
All right, to really get what this chip can do, we've got to pop the hood and see how it organizes all that data. Because believe me, it is not just a messy junk drawer of ones and zeros. Let's start with the big number on the box, 2G. That stands for 2 gigabits, which works out to 256 megabytes of storage. Now, I know what you might be thinking. My phone has way more than that, but hold on. For an embedded device, think a smart thermostat or a piece of factory equipment, that is a ton of space. It's more than enough for the OS, firmware, data logs, you name it.
So, how is that 256 megs laid out? Well, the filing cabinet analogy is just perfect. Picture the whole chip is a big cabinet. It's got 2,048 drawers. We call those blocks. And inside each drawer, you've got 64 file folders, or pages. This whole system is what makes NAND Flash so darn efficient at reading, writing, and erasing data.
And here are the nitty-gritty numbers. You can see each page holds 2 kilobytes of your actual data. But then there's this extra little 128 byte section. That's the spare area. And trust me, it is super important. It's where the chip keeps notes, basically, storing error correction codes to make sure your data never gets corrupted over time.
Now, here's another really crucial detail from the datasheet. This chip uses what's called single-level cell, or SLC NAND. This is not the stuff you find in your average consumer gadget. SLC is the top-shelf, premium stuff. It prioritizes reliability and endurance over just cramming in more data. Think of it as the heavy-duty, industrial-grade version of flash memory, built for jobs where failure is not an option. Okay, so it's tough. We got that. But is it fast? Let's talk performance, and let's talk security, because having a bunch of storage is pretty useless if it's slow or your data isn't safe, right?
And the answer is, oh yeah, it's fast. We're talking a 104 megahertz clock speed, which is zippy. But then you kick in the quad I/O mode, and that data rate can jump all the way up to 416 megabits per second. Plus, you've got that error correction built right in, and a promise to hold your data safely for 10 years. It's the whole package, speed and stamina.
To really wrap your head around that speed, let's use a simple analogy I love. Just think of the different SPI modes as lanes on a data highway. So, standard SPI, that's your basic one-lane road. Dual SPI, okay, now we're talking a 2-lane highway, doubling your speed. But then you get to quad SPI, and bam! You've got a 4-lane superhighway just blasting data through. And the cool thing is, this chip supports all of them, so designers can pick the right road for the job. Okay, for all the engineers watching, you'll recognize this right away. It's a timing diagram, pulled straight from the datasheet. This is basically the sheet music for the high-speed digital conversation happening between the processor and the memory, down to the nanosecond.
But wait, there's more. It's not just about speed. This chip has some really smart security features baked in. You can lock down parts of the memory, there's a special region you can program just once for things like serial numbers, and every single chip has its own unique ID. And get this, they have something they call a golden block. The very first block is guaranteed to be perfect from the factory, which is amazing for storing that supercritical boot code.
All right, we know what it is, who makes it, and how powerful it is. So that leads to the big practical question. Where do you get one?
Well, you're not going to find this thing on the shelf at your local hobby shop, that's for sure. For a professional component like this, engineers and designers go through authorized distributors. And for this particular chip, a major one is a company called eBetter Company Limited.
And you know, a good distributor does way more than just sell you a part. A company like eBetter, they specialize in the whole IoT and wireless world. So they don't just ship you a box of chips. They provide the tech support and the industry know-how to actually help an engineering team get that chip designed into their product successfully. So, to wrap it all up, the XTX XT26G02C is really a powerhouse. You've got a ton of super reliable storage, crazy fast data speeds, and solid security features all crammed into this tiny little package. It's an absolute workhorse for anyone designing the next generation of embedded systems.
And that's what's so cool about all this. When you put a component this powerful and this small into the hands of a creative designer, you're just taking away limitations. You're opening up doors to create devices that might have seemed like science fiction just a few years ago. Which really makes you wonder, right? What are they gonna build next?